Hey guys, it's Katie. Welcome back to my channel, or if you're new here, hi, welcome. I thought we would just have some fun with today's video. I asked you guys on Instagram to send me over your most unpopular bookish and also booktube opinions for me to react to. I've glanced over them, but I haven't read most of them, so this should be fun. If you're not already following me on my Bookstagram, it's just at Katesbookdate. Would totally recommend following me over there because I do a lot of these kind of interactive videos on there. That way you can participate next time if you want to. So yeah, let's just get straight into your most unpopular opinions. If you want to share some more that you guys have down below in the comments, I would love to see them, but let's just get started. Ooh, this first one. The cruel prince supports an abusive relationship and I wish booktubers would talk about it. Yes, you were like completely correct. This book, I have such mixed feelings on this because I really like this series actually. I think I've given both books 4 or 5 stars and I'm really looking forward to the third book in the series. But you guys also know I really hate romanticizing abuse in books and abusive relationships and romances. That's like a pet peeve of mine. And so this series has me real conflicted. I don't typically like the trope with like the bully to lover thing. That really doesn't sit well with me. So that alone is an issue. But the relationship as a whole is real messed up and it's my least favorite part of the series. Hardbacks don't look that good. You don't think my books look good? No, I totally get where you're coming from though. I used to only buy hardcovers, but now I'm kind of converting over to a paperback lover. I despise Sarah J. Maas books. You are not alone. I get comments about this a lot. I see this all over Booktube. It seems to be very polarizing. People either really like her books or not. I really liked them when I first started to read them, but by the end of her Throne of Glass series, I was kind of over it. So I don't know how I would feel if I were to pick up her books for the first time now, honestly. I really don't enjoy audiobooks. I feel like it's not the same as physically reading a book. This is a hill I will die on, and I don't really care what anyone says. Audiobooks are still reading, audiobooks are still the same. You not personally enjoying one or the other, totally valid. They're not for everyone, but anyone who tries to tell me listening to audiobooks doesn't count, like, you can leave. Shadow and Bone series is overrated. You're not wrong. The majority of Booktube has Harry Potter on a pedestal. Totally agree. Totally agree. I love Harry Potter, but totally agree. Everyone talks about Harry Potter like it's their favorite series and stuff. And here's my opinion on it. I feel like, at least for me, people love Harry Potter so much, but it doesn't really have that much to do with the books. Harry Potter is obviously a long series. There's 7 books, there's 8 movies. And so this franchise was my entire childhood. The entire time I was growing up, this was like an ongoing thing. We were constantly getting new Harry Potter content. We were getting the books, we were getting the movies, we were getting the theme parks. All of that was coming out while I was growing up. And so my love for Harry Potter is 100% nostalgia based, and I think this is the case for a lot of people. I remember going to release parties. I remember going to midnight showings at the movie theater where people were lined up around the blocks waiting to get in and people dressed up to go see the movie. So my love of this series has more to do with my memories around it, like going on road trips and watching the third movie a million times with my brother in the back seat. Like, those are the reasons why I love this series, not because the books are like amazing. I feel like if I read them for the first time today, they would probably be like an kind of book for me, but growing up with them is what makes me love them so much, and I think that's the case for a lot of people on Booktube. I think it's also become like a part of people's personalities. Like, people ask like, what's your Hogwarts house and things like that. It's become a cultural thing. It was a nostalgia thing, it was a childhood thing, it's a cultural thing. I think it has more to do with that than the actual series. And it's interesting. I feel like there are a couple of defining series for different generations. Like, some people are diehard about Lord of the Rings, some people are diehard about Twilight, some people are diehard about Harry Potter. So I think it has more to do with it being this like pivotal series for other books and for young adult as a genre and for fantasy. Like, this book has done things for this industry that very few other series have. That was a bit of a tangent. Okay, Children of Blood and Bone was terrible and I hated it. I haven't read it, so I can't speak to this. Cruel Prince is overrated AF. I liked it. I hate The Cruel Prince by Holly Black. Why are you guys all attacking this one book? Hate is such a strong word. Now I'm really curious why you hated it. When people overuse a silly voice or zoom in at an awkward moment thing. So this is more of like a Booktube thing. That's interesting. I think people definitely have preferences for editing. Some people like the like really energetic editing and some people like the more chill, fewer edits vlogs. I kind of like a combination of both. I think half of the booktubers that I follow have the funny edits and half of them are just like really chill, just talking to the camera. I think it's definitely easy to overdo it, so I get that. Daisy Jones and the Six was boring. I DNF'd it because sex and drugs is not my jam. I haven't read it and I don't really plan to. It doesn't sound like it's my jam either. I strongly dislike all Jandy Nelson's books. I don't think I've read a single Jandy Nelson book. Actually, now that I said that, I can't even like bring one to mind. I can't even think of what she wrote. Most modern poetry is all the same. I think this is unpopular. I strongly disagree with this. Obviously, I'm biased because I have a modern poetry book. I think if you feel like it's all the same, you're not reading the right books. If you're only reading the like popular ones, if all you've read is Milk and Honey and The Prince Saves Herself and some of stuff, there are better books out there, and I think you just need to try harder to look for them. Sorry. YA romances are horrible a lot of the time. I mean, this is so vague. I don't really know what you mean by that. So I don't like horrible as in it's a bad relationship or horrible as in it's done poorly, because honestly, valid to either of those in a lot of cases. Twilight isn't as bad as people say it is. Sure, has its problems, but I like it. I like it too. I don't care. I again think that the hatred for this book has nothing to do with the books. I think it's a cultural hatred of anything that is feminine. What was I was like reading an article or watching a video or something where people were like, the hatred for Twilight has nothing to do with Twilight. It's because we hate teenage girls and we hate things that are associated with teenage girls, and people hated Twilight because the big fan base was teenage girls. And I completely agree with that. If I can find the video I was watching, there was like a whole video on this. I'm gonna link it down below. It was really interesting. The Hunger Games and The Catcher in the Rye are my most hated books. Trash in my opinion. I also hated Catcher in the Rye, and I think anyone who's not a pretentious white guy will agree with this. Hunger Games I liked. I read this when I was in 7th grade, to be fair, but I liked it. I have no interest in reading Red, White, and Royal Blue. I also don't have any interest in this at this time, partially because it's so hyped up, and I don't know why hype actually kind of like turns me off of books. I don't even really know what this is about. I think it's just like a gay romance, right? With one of them's a prince or something. I don't know. I have no interest in reading most new releases. That's a very vague statement, so I don't know how to respond to this. Are you like trying to catch up on older series? Are you discriminating against all new releases? I don't know. When booktubers get every arc they can at BookCon and never actually read most or all of them, fair? I know this is a big complaint on BookTube right now about how, you know, booktubers haul all of these books and never read them and stuff. Personally, I think it's their books. It's their business. It's none of my freaking business. I don't care what people do with their books. I don't care how many books people actually read. Like, we're all up in each other's business. The arc thing I get because you're taking an opportunity away from someone else to read that book, but at the same time, they're gonna get released eventually. We'll all get to read them eventually. Can we all just stop attacking each other and chill? I cannot get into Twilight. Several times I've tried and its reputation isn't proceeding. See, Twilight, there was a window of opportunity. There was a time and place to read Twilight. Because if I read this now when I'm 22, I would hate it. But 12-year-old me loved it. So your prime time to enjoy it may have passed. I hate when booktubers push books that are sponsored, but that they put no effort into researching feels fake. Valid. That's fair. I have no problem with booktubers taking sponsorships. I completely support it. Like, you deserve it. Like, good for you. But with that said, you can tell when a sponsorship is like inauthentic and they're just doing it for the money. That makes me sad. That makes me think maybe they really need the money, so I'm still gonna support that. There is this level of trust between you and the creators that you watch, and so I hope that every creator that I love and I trust only would promote things that they really believe in and they really care about, and not just because they're getting paid for it. But again, I just try to mind my own business. When nobody is reading a wild story, they make up a wild story on Twitter. I love this. I feel, oh my god, this is life. This isn't just Twitter. This is just life. When people are bored, they make up drama. Freaking book Twitter. Oh, Eliza and Her Monsters was/is so overhyped. Like, it's good, but not that good. I haven't read it, but it's definitely hyped, like big time on here. A Court of Mist and Fury is the most boring one in the series. Oh, did you like the other books in the series? Because I was like, about ACOTAR. I really liked A Court of Mist and Fury, and then I was kind of about the last book too. So if you found that one boring, how boring did you find the other ones? Dog-earing your books isn't a big deal. I've started doing this too. I don't really care anymore. I DNF'd Daisy Jones and the Six. I have no interest in reading it. I understand. I don't really want to read or watch The Hunger Games, kind of like with Twilight. Maybe there's like a window of prime enjoyment time for this as well. I absolutely hated Fangirl. It was boring and Kath was so annoying, and I ended up DNFing it. I ended up unhauling it, so I think Illuminate is overrated. The only good thing about it is the unique format. I really liked Illuminate. It took me a while to get into it, and the audiobook definitely helped me enjoy it, but I didn't think it was the best thing ever, and I didn't read the rest of the series. There are definitely better things out there. Bookshelf tours and book hauls are boring. Bookshelf tours and book hauls are the worst videos to film. So fair. It's fine if book adaptations are different from the book. I completely agree with this. There are some adaptations that I like the movie more than I like the book because the movie did it differently, because they took the book and they fixed the problems in the book and made a better movie out of it. I try to look at a movie as its own entity. Like, obviously, to an extent, I want it to be loyal to the book, but if it's not exactly perfect, like, I was not one of those people who was complaining about Daniel Radcliffe's eye colors being different than it was in the book. Like, who cares? That's what you're gonna nitpick? The triangle between Jem, Tessa, and Will is the worst to ever exist. Oh, I freaking love the Infernal Devices. I love Will Herondale, and that love triangle was good. I don't like Shadowhunters. Do you mean the TV show or the books? Because I also didn't like the TV show, but I did like the books. That if you didn't read a popular book, it's like, what? You haven't read it yet. Why? You need to. Yeah, I totally agree with that. I get like yelled at in the comments of my videos sometimes, like, why haven't you read this yet? I have a million things to read. I'm currently reading Simon versus the Homo Sapiens Agenda, and I'm hating it. Oh, you should DNF that. I haven't read it. I don't know. But if you hate it, don't torture yourself. I DNF'd The Name of the Wind. Did I read The Name of the Wind? I did. I read that. I listened to an audiobook. That's the only way that I got through it. It was freaking long and dense and slow and well done if you're into that kind of thing, but that kind of thing is not my cup of tea. And I got some about specific booktubers, so we're not gonna do that here. We're not starting that here. I'm not putting myself in that position. So yeah, thank you guys so much for sending in all of your unpopular opinions. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. This is pretty fun for me. If you have some more, feel free to leave those in the comments down below. I would love to see them. And if you're new here, I would love it if you would subscribe. I put up at least 2 new videos every single week. All my social media is linked down below in the description if you want to check it out, and I'd appreciate it if you'd give this video a thumbs up. But other than that, I'll just see you guys in my next video very, very soon. Bye.
So hit me. So hit me. So hit me. First a confession. With you, I feel a connection. With